inside another dimension, face battling barbarians and evil magic on a quest for adventure in a maze of monsters. Once you get into it, you'll never be the same. Hero Quest. Now with 2 new adventure packs, the legend grows.
Hi, welcome back to Know Your Mother's Hobbies. Today we're looking at the hero miniature for Dreadmoon, the Guardian Knight. Now this is a re-release of the Guardian Knight. You might know that there was a little mini expansion a long time ago. They redid him, redesigned him, and added him to the Dreadmoon as the hero for that one. And changed the sculpt up a bit. So he's looking a little different. Got a helmet on. His arms are differently posed. A little, you know, his sword's a little higher up and whatnot. Slightly different than the other one we did. So we're going to paint them slightly different. So you can see here a comparison. I'll put a link up above if you want to see how I did that one. But we're going to do this new one a little bit different. Starting off different, we're going to do the cape different. We're going to do the cape with Frostheart. We're going to do blue cape with red trim. We're inverting it. And I think that'll not only make this guy stand out from the other ones I've already done, but it'll also be a pretty cool color scheme. So just do the cape. The cape connects to the sleeves that he's got going on. Then we've got some little padded armor underneath here that you can see right in between his tassets. He's also got a blue collar underneath that helm if you want to poke in there with a tiny brush or do your best to get underneath. And then as usual, just to show you we all make mistakes, I'm going to clean up with some Wraithbone here. You can use any off-white or white you got going on to do those cleanup things, but that's what I used. And then we're going in with bold titanium white, and we're going to frost up that cape just a little bit. All those areas that we did blue, we're just going to add a little bit of a dry brush of white, and that's going to help those details pop as a simple highlight, just like we do sometimes with red capes or red clothing or what have you. Speaking of red, this is our red trim. We're using Blood Angels red. Friendly reminder, you do not have to use the paints that I use. You can use anything that looks similar or otherwise. This is just what I got. We're going to use this, though, to do the trim. We're going to do his little hair tassel thingy. We're going to do his cummerbund, his padded cummerbund, his waistband, and then switch over to Black Templar to do his boots and his pants. So the back of his boots, the bottom of his boots, the front of his boots, all those little buckles and stuff, as well as his pants. He's also got some other things we're going to do, like the belt. We're going to do the armbands and belt buckles and stuff that are keeping his shoulder pads connected. Here's a good shot where if you look at the shoulder, you can see he's got some belt looping under. So get all those belts, those buckles, and whatnot going with black. And I gave him half finger gloves as well. Basilicanum Gray as our base coat for the steel silver armor that he's got going on. He's got some thigh pads. He's got some booty blockers. He's got some shoulder pads, as said before. A lot of scale mail going all around. This time he's got a helmet. And then, of course, he's got bracers and his sword. Then we're going to add a brown that nobody's ever going to see, so you don't have to do this, but it will cover up a bunch of mistakes, because it's hard to get behind that shield. But the back of the shield, we're doing snakebite leather for a wood feel. Skeleton Horde for a warm fur. We're doing warm fur on this guy. He's got a lot of blue already. We don't need that cool fur, so we're doing warm with the Skeleton Horde, and put that around all the firm trim, so on his collar, his booties, and his little bracers. We're putting chrome on the backing of this front shield design, right? So the recessed areas we're going to do with chrome, and that's going to give us a nice shiny bright shield, because in that artwork, you got a shiny bright shield up there, brighter than his armor. So we want to really focus on that, make that pop. We're going to have Guilliman Flesh here. We're using that for our gold blocking, as well as any flesh. I decided to contrast from the previous sculpt and make this guy have pale flesh, so we're putting those fingies in there, and you can see we also have a blue gem on that hilt. First step of layering here, we're going to put our metals in. We're going to do gunmetal here for his silver metallics. Going all around, remember we did that basilicanum gray base so that you don't have to be too precise. So just go around, you can overbrush if you want. Overbrushing is a heavy dry brush, I guess. Like a mid dry brush. You can do that and skip out parts and just make it all scratchy and ruddy, or you can go completely over, having that basilicanum safety net in case you miss any spots. Nuln Oil gloss here. Reminder that this paint does not exist anymore, so do a dark wash, a dark shade, and then a gloss over top, or mix a dark shade with a gloss and combine the two. Whichever works for you. We're using that to get into all the recesses. It's going to shade as well as shine. So all the parts that you didn't paint with the metal, like the basilicanum base, will get shined up and it'll look like metal. That'll help you out, save some time, and help you with mistakes. We're doing Retributor armor for our gold. This is my favorite gold. It's a nice, bright, warm gold, and we're going to use this for all the raised areas on the shield, as well as he's got a medallion on his neck, and we're going to hit the sword hilt as well. Not a lot of gold on this guy, though I will say you do not want to forget about his sword sheath. There's the top and the bottom sword sheath. Do not forget that. I did, and you'll see it maybe peeking out around in the video where I do fix it later. So I did do the sword sheath details gold as well. And then, of course, we're using our Reichland Flesh Shade Gloss, or a Flesh Shade with a gloss over top, or Flesh Shade Gloss mix. We're using that for all of our gold detailing, just to get a recess shade and make any of the Gulliman flesh you didn't color shiny and blended. Cadian flesh tone here for our first layer of flesh highlighting, mid-toning. This is going to clean up any blotchiness, give us a nice even coverage, and give us a nice mid-tone. We're covering that up with some Kislev flesh in less space. It's only fingers, so how much space you got? Just do little dotties and try to get smaller, smaller, smaller. Remember, this guy's got two hands, even if one is hidden. You know how we go. We got Pallid Witch Flesh for our most highest highlight on the skin. This will make those fingers really stand out, even those sneaky ones behind the shield. Someone might get a nice glimpse. We're going to use Nuln Oil gloss or a dark shade with a gloss on top. However you do it, this is going to be used to pin wash some of the outline details of this shield, right? We really want that shield to be chromy, to be really bright, but to be distinct too. So we're going to use that to fine line and outline while trying to stay away from those big top parts of the shield design of the recess. We're coming back with bold titanium white, whatever white you got. We're hitting the back of the boots, the front of the boots. We're just adding a little bit of a dry brush on there to pick out some details, as well as hitting the belt on the front, as well as the red skirting. You could do his little hand half gloves, and you saw there that I did the plume on the top of his head. I came back in with a fine brush to just dot in some short strokes and some edge highlighting lines around the waist armor, the red waist armor, as well as the trim. You can see here me doing that. And that's going to add some texture to those areas and break up those edge highlights. Then we're using chrome to highlight all of our metallics. There's a little bit of gold and a lot of metal going on, a lot of steel going on. On the front of the shield, you can see that I chose to just do slashing highlights on there rather than doing edge highlights all over the place. I thought it looked pretty cool and added some more visual interest than just normal edge highlighting. Then we go around, and anywhere that you think would catch the light on these steel places, steel armor plates, go around and add those extra highlights on there. Shine it up, anything that's going to be hitting that light or anything you want to see with more detail. You can see here I'm also using those slashing motions, slashing strokes, to add some interesting highlight onto the sword more than we usually do. Just a different look, just to make it, experiment and whatnot. And then, of course, the helmet. We got a lot of stuff going on the helmet, some little details. Just go around, be clean, and do your best. Wraithbone to highlight up the fur trim he's got all over the place. So just go around specking in, dotting in, and trying to hit all of those little high mounds and whatnot. Pick them all out, and it's going to look great. Then we do our basing as normal. So gray paint, texture paint, dry brush wash, and a dry brush. And there you have it. We have our Guardian Knight variant from the Dread Moon expansion for Hero Quest. I think this guy came out pretty good. The inverted colors really worked out well. You now got 2 different ways to paint this miniature. You can see that blue cape looks really nice. I think I'm going to use that for some other miniatures, or use that for some color schemes going down in the future, maybe personal projects or other. I think it came out really nice. I'm really happy with that. Here you can see a comparison to the original color scheme, the one that matches the card art, the character art. We have the red cape and whatnot. You can see that both are looking pretty dang good. Even the blue trim on the original, and then the red trim on the new one. Looking real good there, I think. It was definitely worth trying out and experimenting with. I think you could do this with many other color combos and have it pulled off well. That is the last of Dread Moon, though. We've just got a couple iconic furniture pieces from the new set. As usual, I'd like to thank everyone for watching. Throw me a like if you enjoyed the video. Thank you to all my lovely supporters on Patreon. You guys have been a huge help recently. Our community Discord is slowly growing. If you'd like to take part, go check that out. We got behind-the-scenes content and other goodies. Let me know in the comments down below what you're working on. Check me out on Twitch for gaming stuff, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye!